Look on the credits of most shows these days and you'll spot, usually right at the end, the producer-director. TV types, always keen to save time, simply call them PDs. So what exactly does the job entail?
If you're a PD, you've got to be a jack of all trades. So you have to be able to write scripts and you have to be able to direct. Those are the two fundamental things. So ideally use a camera. Ideally you want to be able to do sound, you want to be able to do budgets, you want to be able to manage a team. You've got to manage the presenters, you've often got to manage, maybe up to 10 people on location and more possibly in the office.
Working in television, you also need to have good interpersonal skills, be able to get on with people on many different levels, and be able to organise really well.
You can work on a documentary that'll take 6 months from beginning to end. You can work on that'll take 2 years. You can work on a weekly turnaround programme where you think of the idea on the Tuesday, you'll do the research on the Wednesday, you'll write your script on the Thursday, do your risk assessment and last minute things on the Friday, you'll be filming it the next Monday, you'll be editing it on the Tuesday, and you'll be dubbing on Tuesday evening. It can be that tight a turnaround.
The ideal producer-director that I'd want to employ now is somebody who has a great visual creativity. These days, they've got to have editorial capabilities. For me, they've got to be able to write as well, and they've got to be able to handle a camera and be able to shoot their own stuff.
The evolution of the PD that shoots their own material has been a huge change in the industry in recent years.
One of the main shows I work on here is the Gadget Show. The first series, everything was shot with a crew.
Hello and welcome to the Gadget Show.
This last series, Series 6, almost everything was self-shot. So just over those 3 years, for us, it's changed absolutely and totally.
I often self-shoot, yeah. It's become more and more common because whatever's in your mind, you can get on the camera. And the cameras are so easy to use now. And action!
Well, it's a complete change from what it was like when I first started in the business, where, not only would you have a director, you then have a cameraman and a separate sound operator. It actually does, to a certain extent, affect the editorial process. But we can go to places and we can do stuff that ordinarily we wouldn't be able to afford.
So we can go abroad now on a shoot, and we can go away with both presenters for 2 or 3 days. And that's actually cheaper than it would be shooting out there with a 2-man crew for 1 day.
Being a self-shooter has really helped me move on and do a much more wide variety of jobs. You can often work on jobs where you have to direct crew, but also self-shoot as well, which is actually what I'm doing today.
So while traditional crew aren't totally out of work, with television becoming increasingly fast turnaround, the modern PD has to master a variety of roles.
Anybody who wants to work their way up through learns all the skills. Every time you move up a level, every time you're asking somebody to do something for you, you should be able to do that.
And understanding the whole process is especially crucial in the edit.
Yeah, the edit is the stage where everything comes together. If you turn up and shoot anything and you don't have a script or an idea in your head, a very clear idea in your head of what you're shooting, you can run into real dangers in the edit. Ideally, we want to have this finished by about 3 o'clock so it can be watched. It's quite a lot to cut in a day.
And as a freelancer moving from project to project, it's the norm to deal with an eclectic mix of subjects.
Sometimes you can work on programmes that are so different. I worked on a history programme, very serious content about the Second World War, and a couple of months later I was working on another programme that was all about sex tips for men. It can be difficult to get your head around the differences in topic, but you need to take the skills of being able to talk to people, understand people, through all those different types of programmes.
If you want a different challenge, a new thing to do, a new company, then you can do that next week, you can do that the week after, and that's fantastic.
I think once you get on a roll and you meet people and you get jobs through word of mouth, really. Obviously you still have to prove yourself and do a good job every time.
So how do you become a PD?
You learn on the job. So get out there as much as you can and see other people doing it and learn from their mistakes.
Probably like most people in television, I kind of ended up doing it really, starting as a runner and worked my way up basically.
If you're interested in people and you're interested in people's stories and you're interested in using your own creativity to tell those stories visually, then there is no better job.
So that's life as a producer-director. And if you missed anything, here's a quick recap. The PD's job starts with the idea, then researching, scripting and planning. Then it's off to the shoot, logging everything you've shot, adapting the script, then creating some magic in the edit. And that is how a PD gets an idea from thought bubble to tellybox.